Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today we are looking at One Piece chapter 1055, titled New Age. And to start off, we open on the continuation of the battle between Greenbull, an admiral, five scabbards, Yamato not doing anything, and Momonosuke trying to do something. So, basically, things don't go well. Raizo tries to use fire release. Doesn't work. And then he gets stabbed, and then he gets sucked to dry by Greenbull. Yay, fun. So they all keep trying to chop him up. Doesn't seem to work out too well. Then they all get snagged. Right out of midair. But rather than talk about that, let's cut to the interesting part. Where, guess what? Pluton was a bust once again. Yay! Woo, woo, woo. No Pluton for you. Anywho, so we go even further down from that secret room where Robin and Odin's dad was. Sorry, I forget his name. And Robin is talking to Law. Law's kind of biting back a little bit and brings up how they were walking away like they were up to something. And Jack actually found out about it because he's a fisherman. And they were wondering why. Why does that matter? Well, see, you look around, you see a little window from the crawl space. And they both Law and Robin look in and they see, boom, it's Wano, but it's underwater like crazy. We actually find out that Wano was originally just a normal country. Like a literal normal country with just a really tall island. And then, so it gets its walls shot up. Then eventually, the walls catch the rainwater, and with nowhere to go, it eventually keeps rising. Until the actual mountain is the only suitable place that they can live, which is crazy to think about. We all know how big Wano country is, right, guys? It is unironically massive beyond comprehension. So imagine how big this island must have been in its heyday 800 years ago. It would have had to be even grander in scale than Alabasta. And speaking of Alabasta, we find out that the Pluton is somewhere along Old Wano, which means that you can't really find it unless you plan to break down the walls. And we find out that Huguro received information from the past rulers of Wano rather than necessarily what Odin said. So no one really knows exactly why he wanted to open it, but they still wanted Wano to be open. I just think that's more of a symbolic thing rather than necessarily the walls being destroyed themselves. But then again, I could be wrong, because, we're all human. Then we'll finally cut to back to Greenbull fighting again, and things don't seem to be going well for the scabbards, and we keep finding out that we keep getting it reinforced this chapter that Yamato is not supposed to do anything, and Momo will not do that. Now, he refuses to rely on the others and say that if it would basically not be any help to anyone if he was relying on the people who wanted to leave to save them, which, makes sense. Like, what happens if Luffy just leaves the island? Well, they can't exactly save it themselves. Like, look at Alabasta. Simply put, if Crocodile came back to Alabasta now, there is nothing anyone can do to stop them. Nothing. They would have to call for Marines, and even then, anyone short of, like, Vice Admiral is not doing anything. And then we get, and it's a valid point that Momo makes. So we cut, and Momo finally uses the blast breath, and it actually looks really great. It's very elegantly drawn, and he just starts wailing like crazy. Like, he just keeps shooting, and he doesn't actually care. And we see that the only thing left is a small plant, which Greenbull grows back out of. And everything, it seems like the fight is going to continue until we see black lightning come from down where the sea is, all the way up to where the Wano land is. And he it's hard to tell, but it honestly looks like he's in pain just from the Conqueror's Haki, which is kind of crazy to think about. And he brings up who the Conqueror Haki is and who it could be. And then he realizes it's the red-haired pirates. Now, we then see that not only Shanks is using it seems like he's holding a sword. So he whips out his sword. That's already crazy, because we literally have seen that one time. And that was at Marineford. And remember, Marineford, kind of chaotic place. So he whips out his sword, shoots Conqueror's Haki, scares the ever-loving crap out of Greenbull. This man is terrible. Do you see the sweat marks? I don't know. I know it's a bit of a meme to bring up sweat marks in One Piece. But look, he is sweating. He is sweating. He's a tree and he's sweating. He's a forest human, and he's sweating just because Shanks is about to pull up. And he uses what I'm guessing is like a form of the voice of all things to basically yell at Greenbull and be like, "Hey, that's not happening, boys. They made history. You don't get to do anything." And we see Shanks pissed. Shanks has not been this pissed in a long time. And if you were a weekly reader, the last time you saw Shanks get pissed, geez, you must be old. That was 20 years ago. At least 20 years ago. Then Greenbull, of course, runs away. He leaves flowers behind, which is kind of nice. And we get a nice little shot of Yamato, the rest of the scabbards, Raizo. Raizo's not going to die this arc. I'm sorry, but if Raizo dies right now, I might unironically just lose it. And then we cut back to everyone throwing a party, except for 4 individuals. The Monster Quartet. But not really. So we cut back, and apparently they did all know what Greenbull was up to, but since Momo made it very clear that he didn't want anyone there, they kind of had to sit up here and watch, which, is pretty interesting. Also, Zoro, it seems like Zoro is the one who's yelling, "Check out Momo," and, stuff like that. So he's actually being really encouraging, which is a nice dynamic. Definitely seems like Zoro became really close to the samurai. Closer than even most of the Straw Hats, I would argue, over the span of the voyage and time they just shared together, which is nice. And then they wonder who the Conqueror Haki user is, and Luffy knows who it is. Luffy knows exactly who it is. Puts him a smile on his face. He knows exactly who it is. But he's not going to do anything about it, because that's just pure, unadulterated Luffy. Now, what did I think of this chapter? This chapter's obviously pretty good. Is it as good as the last one? No. That Wano reveal, though, on point, delicious. Shanks doing something on point, delicious. Mwah. It's fantastic. So, what am I going to give this? I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Everything was on point, just it was not as crazy as the last chapter. And it would have probably been nice to catch up on Sabo or just understand what is going on. because you dropped a bombshell about Sabo being suspected of killing Cobra and Vivi going missing, and the whole world is in shit. And Shanks is going for the One Piece. And then you come back, and that's not happening. Now, that's not bad at all. I know Oda's doing this to make us, want it. And trust me, I do want it. But this chapter didn't hit as hard. Although, damn, that Conqueror Saki, man. I'm sorry, but if you're on Team Admiral, that Admirals are relative to Yonko or anything like that, bro, the only Admiral that can beat a Yonko in a one-on-one fight is Akainu. And even then, I doubt he could beat any Emperor except Buggy. But even then, Buggy has the plot fruit, which, is crazy. So I don't really think Admirals are the way to go anymore. I think there'll be final bosses when it comes to the final saga, obviously, but if I were to put it in perspective, when Luffy goes up against the world government, Akainu is going to be Sabo's final opponent, or he's going to be a character similar to Don Chinchou, where he isn't the final boss of the arc, but he definitely has to fight someone, and that will push him to his upper limit, but not enough to make him go, oh shoot. Like, Luffy's not using Gear 5 on Akainu. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Bro, Shanks was able to scare Greenbull away with just Conqueror Saki. Yeah. So either Shanks is ridiculously stronger than the other Yonko, which I don't know about that, and I think the Yonko just take the W again. So, yay, Yonko over Admiral. There we go. But apart from that, we need good, solid chapters like this, and we keep getting them. So Wano hasn't stopped hitting yet. Granted, we're still in Wano Act 3, so it can't stop and it won't stop. And without further ado, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic day.